Jetbeam has a new photography fill light called the PL-190R. This light does RGB color as well as white light in a variety of brightnesses and different tones. It charges via USB-C and has USB out to charge your device. Thanks to Jetbeam for sending this to me to take a quick look at and review. So here is the packaging, and it's a clear kind of retail box here. Not the best or my favorite thing, but you can sort of see things well in it. It mentions your color temperatures are 2500 to 8500 Kelvin, 0 to 100% brightness, 360 degrees of color space, high CRI, and it says it's efficient. On the back, you've got some more stats in English and Chinese, or maybe Japanese, I'm not quite sure. The light doesn't really come with much. You get this OTG cable, which USB-C, which you plug into the light itself. Then you can plug in a USB-A cable, or you can plug in your devices. So basically, this allows you to charge it at a conventional USB-A charger to USB-C, and then you can use the power bank feature with this, provided you have your own device cable. So taking a look at the construction here of the device, it remains pretty similar to the original Jetbeam light here that I have and I use on most of my videos, except it's a little bit different form factor. You've got more LEDs here on the front. It's a bit thicker, but you still got an aluminum bezel here. You've got a place for a lanyard here. You've got a 1/4-20 slot for your tripod mount. You've also got one here on this end, and just some venting for heat, I assume. On top, you've got 2 buttons for control. And on this side, you've got some sliders. This one goes full around. That gives you that brightness. And this one is like your product selection. And it just rocks up and down, but it also clicks. On the back here, you've got a sheet of glass. It's very dark. You don't really notice it. If you turn it on, you get an OLED screen here. It's kind of dim. And it right now just shows battery level and the product name because I don't have it turned on. So I measured the length at 129 millimeters, width at 72 millimeters, thickness at 15.5. Weight was 216 grams, and it's roughly the size and footprint of the previous model here, but thicker. It's just slightly taller, but you can see it's quite a bit thicker in overall dimensions. So there's a lot of LEDs on here. You can see right now I've got it in the white mode, so you can probably see we've got some cold whites and some warmer whites as well. And as I warm it up, you can see we just have the warm lights going. And if I cool it back off, the warm lights fade out and the cool whites fade in. 220 LEDs to be exact. 120 of those are for white light, and 60 being warm light and 60 being cold white. While the remaining, when combined together, you get a tint anywhere between 2500 and 8500 Kelvin. The remaining 100 LEDs are for the colored modes. So here it is showing in green, and I'll keep the brightness fairly low here. And here I've got it kind of in green, and I'll keep fading. There we go, we got it going more green. It's gonna go to blue, deep blue, dark blue. And we keep going, we're gonna get purple, magenta, pink, yellow, orange, red, yellow, back to green. Okay, here is the fill light here at night, and I've got it in warm mode. This is at 1% power, 2500 Kelvin, and we can see it puts out a decent amount of light here in front of me. If I bring it up just a little bit, this is 10% power in the warm. And let me cycle through the different temperatures here. You can see how fast it cycles to cool white. And I do have the exposure and white balance locked here. So you can see it does a decent job of changing colors. We can go back to warm. So I'm going to leave it more at about 4000 Kelvin here, right here. You can see in cool mode at maximum it produces 650 lumens, and at warm 570 lumens. And that range is 2500 to 8500 Kelvin. And kind of show you what it's like a little bit brighter here. So this is full 100% power, 4000 Kelvin. Let me cool it up. You can see it gets fairly blue here at 8500 Kelvin. Bluer than pretty much any flashlight that I've got. And if I warm it up here, you can see it's at 2500, it's pretty dang warm. So here is the RGB mode, and this is again at 100% power here. Again, we can scroll power to different modes, and the sensor here captures things a little bit different. It's more blue than what it's showing here, but you can see we can cycle through, and it cycles quickly. We get red, yellow, green, and it keeps going around here. We're at 180 degrees. We kind of go blue again, all the way blue, 240, 250, 300. So RGB is an interesting mode, I think. It's probably more useful for photography, I think, than video work, especially as a fill type of light. And you're probably not going to run it at 100% like I am now, but you can see this being kind of useful for still stuff. And I can kind of stop here. You've got a green. And the last mode we've got here is the different special modes. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is, rather than just because it can. This is only 16% power here. Well, let me cycle through. We've got a red and a blue, kind of your classic cop mode. And then you've got a red and green, probably Christmassy. Then you've got a red, blue, yellow, green mode here as well. So with that covered, let me show you the screen here. And I apologize here, but the OLED screen just is not wanting to show up here at all on video. So I'll insert some photos to show you what it's like. But the inserted screen has a runtime estimator, and I found it not to be super accurate. I did a test where I set the light to 4000 Kelvin, 100% brightness, and the estimate showed only about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, but the light goes on significantly longer than that. My only guess at that estimate is before any changes in brightness, so it's estimating at the current lighting, and it's a very fine detail, very particular. Total runtime in this mode was right at 200 minutes, and that was absolute brightest to no light. And there is a little bit of a step down or so. The first 50 minutes or so was at 90% relative output, and then 170 minutes were above 80% total relative output. After that 50-minute mark, the light becomes a little bit unstable with a little bit of stepping up and down slightly. This isn't really noticeable to the eye, but could be in photography situations with really carefully controlled exposures. You'll see my graph of that here. So instead of buttons to change modes, the brightness of the PL-190R is using dials on the side here, which I showed, which I prefer. This top one is brightness, and the bottom one is tint or tone. You've got a mode button up on top here, and then a power button as well. So the brightness rotates in and out, very self-explanatory. Then the bottom, you have saturation and H for color, degrees of color. And I kind of went through that as well. It's not super fast. It could be probably a little bit quicker, but the good thing with this is it's slow enough where you can get it to 1 degree at a time, so you can exactly dial in 211 with 87% saturation, which is happened to be what I have now, which is kind of a nice blue color. The only problem I had with this was it's a little bit difficult to get exactly 1% of power dialed in here, and when I did have it there, if you shake it or move it around a lot, it wanted to vary a little bit and wasn't the most stable form of light. The light has 3 modes of operation. In white light mode, it uses 60 warm and 60 cold LEDs to make a mix of light to reach the desired tint. It ranges from 2500 Kelvin to 8500 Kelvin in 100K increments. Brightness is controlled in 1% increments, and the light's rated up to 650 lumens at 8500K and 570 lumens at 2500K. RGB mode is similar, but it's using those 50 RGB LEDs. It's measuring tints in degrees of color gamut and isn't quite as fluid as the white LEDs, since everything is being done on each die in a combination with 2 or more LEDs. It's adjustable from 0 to 100% intensity, and the other rocker allows you to adjust the color and then saturation level as well. Color definitely takes a little bit of fine tuning to dial in. I don't have the equipment needed to give me a lumen rating for the color lights, but generally it's less than white. Personally, I don't see this being a huge issue, as I see it more as a photography fill light to light a tabletop scene, and you'll see in my night shots it puts out a decent amount of light. This also features a couple of special modes here that I'll switch into. These 9 different modes here, I don't see a lot of use for these practically from a photography or filming standpoint, but hey, it's there and it didn't really take anything extra for them to include. So you've got some white modes here, which is Lightning 1, Lightning 2, SOS. Then you've got Club, Strobe, Color Chase, Candlelight, Police Car, and Red, White, and Green. And those are fairly easy to get to here. So this is that red, white, blue, green, probably You can adjust the speed of these with the rocker on the side. Then if I hit mode, or if I click my rocker one more time, this is red, white, green. And here is police mode, which is everyone's favorite, I'm sure. Night and night shots do the best job of showing this. The PL-190R has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery built inside. This is used to power the light, but also used to be used as a power bank. Impressively, the light's capable of delivering up to 18 watts in power bank mode, up to 12 volts or 3 amps appropriately. Unfortunately, it doesn't charge another device via USB-C to C cable, so an A to C cable is required for modern devices. The same can be true of recharging the light. It won't recharge on a C to C cable. Charge time via the USB-C input was just under 3 hours and charged at 2 amps, no problems. My conclusion is the Jetbeam PL-190R is an interesting take on a photography fill light with the additional color, and it becomes more capable as a video light as well. While not the only name in the game, it's probably one of the better known flashlight companies doing this. There are similar products from other Chinese companies, but none quite as bright or as many features as I found here. For me, I'll probably use this as a photography fill light with some supplemental lighting. If you don't follow my Instagram, make sure you follow, because that's where I'll probably be posting this for the first time. I'll keep my original Jetbeam fill light here and continue to use it as a video light on top of my camera, as I do on most of my flashlight reviews, to give just a little bit better light, because it's only white only, and I feel like it does a little bit better job of just being a video light in this situation. And I'll probably keep this one for photography situation. If you're interested, I'll have a link below on where you can find it on Jetbeam websites and other US retailers that I can find. As always, guys, if you have any questions, please leave your comments in the questions below in the description. And as always, make sure you're subscribed, like the channel, like this video, and I'll see you on the next review.